Finish the nose, it's time to get pretty much the last big body part that we need to do for our head, and that is the ear. So the ear can be done in a bunch of different ways. It really depends on the style of ear you want to make. Some do a very simple cartoony style ear, some do a really high detail where you get all the ear canals and all the folds and everything like that. We might just go with a cartoonier ear for this one, and then I'll do a separate video later on how to do a really nice realistic looking ear. So in our case right now, we have a pretty decent amount of geometry as it is. So before I go any further, I might just adjust it at least a little bit, just so we kind of have a little less stuff that we need to work with. And right now, these faces right here are going to be the ones that I'm going to use for my ear. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all these little faces that are surrounding the ear, and I'm going to create an extrusion. And the reason I'm doing that is I just kind of want to create a nice set of geometry for the ear itself. I'm actually going to go in, let me delete half my model just so I don't get confused. So I'm just going to go into face mode. Oops. So I'll go into face mode and select half of these, delete half. It's just going to make things a lot easier for me to see what I'm doing. So for the ear, what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to do a rough shape using these new vertices from that extrusion. So I'm just kind of taking them and roughly shaping them around my ear. I might move some other ones a little bit out of the way, and we're just going to get that shape. Just like this. Doesn't have to be perfect, because you're not really going to see this portion of it, but I want to try to get as nice of a shape as I possibly can. So I'm just going to go in like that. That looks pretty good there. Let's do this side. Get these nicely rounded to it. Move this over here. The ones right here are a little more important because you will see those. So just try to get a nice shaping of them. Just like so. And now that I have this shape, what we could do is I'll select all these faces right here. So just get them all like that. And I'm going to create an extrusion. So I'm going to have both sides open just because I'm going to need it for this part. So I'll create an extrusion. I'm going to click on this icon right here just so it goes to the world instead. I'll pull this out a little bit. And this is going to be the beginning portion of our ear. So we're going to use this as a little bit of a spacer in our ear for the actual ear itself. And then I'm going to create another extrusion. I'm going to recenter it, pull that part out. Then I'll kind of use this as the actual ear. So I'm going to rotate it. And now we have a nice little bit of a shaping to our ear. So these, actually before I go even further, I might flatten this out a bit. It just might make things look a little cleaner later on. So there's that. And with this, I could go in and kind of take these faces right here, or you could do it with the vertices, but I'm just going to use the faces to kind of just bring them out and shape them to the ear. Doesn't have to be perfect. I don't really spend too much time on ears, and people usually don't look at them too often to really see how detailed they are. But in this case, I'm just going to do nice, quick details. So I'm actually going to use edge mode just to kind of speed this along and just get a little bit more precise with my movements. So I'm just going to go bring them over here, and I'm just using them to shape out each different piece of the ear like this. I'm probably going to come back in and scale this a little differently so we can thin it out. But just taking one piece at a time to really move them out and move them into the correct spots. So let's take that, bring that into place. Let me do it from the side view so it's easier. That looks good. That looks good. Bring this outward that way. This spot for the earlobe. And now what I'm going to do is I kind of want these a little closer together. So what I'll do is I'll go into vertex mode. I'm just going to start doing those little details. Because I don't really want this edging right there. So I want to kind of spread this out and have it go a little nicer in how it looks. So I'm going to take these vertices, I'm kind of just bringing them forward a bit, just so it smooths that part of the ear out. So just bringing them out like that. And I'm just going to try my best to get a good edge flow with it, because then afterwards I might even take these and push them backwards. So let's see how that looks even. Yeah, it looks pretty good. This way, it's a much smoother spot there while we have that crease in the back here. Alright, so that looks pretty good. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select some of these faces. So, in this case, I'll take these faces right here. If it lets me, there we go. I'll do another extrusion to kind of build that inner part of the ear, just like this. Have that go in like that. And then I'm going to kind of go back in and smooth this area more, just to really get a nice curvature. So I'm just going to bring those in. I might even try to go as far as to select a grouping of these vertices at once right here. Let's see, am I selecting the right ones? No. Just so like these right here. Oops. And kind of just flatten them out that way, just so it kind of goes in a little bit faster. Again, a lot of this is really touch and go in how you want to work with it. So all I'm doing is just kind of going in, selecting these vertices, and scaling and moving them into place while keeping it nice and smooth. And for the inside, if we really want to go further, we could just kind of select these right here, kind of go in a little deeper. And that'll create like a little bit of a lip, but it should get our jobs done. So let me take these, thin this out a bit more. Just bring those in to match it up nicely. And then I could take these and push those in more. And that's just going to define the lip of the ear better. And once we get to the earlobe, I'm just going to take the vertices for it and just adjust them so that shapes it out nicely. Just like that. And that's going to be a good shape for our ear. And then again, I will probably make a much more detailed video on how to create an ear properly. But for this project, and for a basic idea on how to shape out an ear, this will work. But at this point, we're pretty much done with the ear. So, after that, I could go into the front view, take some of these vertices, and kind of bring them out a little bit just to give it a little more detail, but for the most part, this is looking good. Let me bring these out inward a little bit. Alright, so in the next video, we'll just finish up mirroring the head around, kind of spreading it out, winding it, putting in the proper areas, and then doing minor details. And then we're done. So yeah, see you then.